All right, my friends, welcome to the Dr. Sam Yankee Show. And as you know, it is also the Start Spreading the News Yankees podcast. I will be starting to film again with Dr. E.J. Fagan for the Start Spreading the News podcast in the coming weeks. But right now, it's still just one show, as the Yankees really haven't given us any reason at all to have two shows. As you know, I run the greatest Yankees site in the entire world, Start Spreading the News. We'll put the little graphic back up here. Start Spreading the News. We put out 3 articles every single day. Every single day. And there's our logo in the upper corner of the screen. We put out articles at 6 a.m., 10 a.m., and 2 p.m. We do that. We did that during COVID. We've done that when there's baseball. We've done that every off season. We've been doing it since 2017. And the Yankees this offseason have made this the hardest offseason ever because they've given us nothing to talk about. But before we get into that, let's start off the right way. Let's make today a great day. And how do you make your day great? It's simple. It really is. It's the simplest thing in the world. Look around you. Look around at all the goodness in the world. How can you have a bad day? There is so much good. And I know there's bad. Yes, there is. And a lot of people spend a lot of time looking at all the bad, and they forget the good. There is so much good. Look around, see the good, and appreciate it. Appreciate the things in your life that are blessings. Your family, your home, the fact that you have food, the fact that you have friends, the fact that you can listen to a podcast, you have the internet, or you must have a phone. There is so much that we have that we just take for granted. But I know, listen, we all have periods where things aren't good. And you say, Dr. Sem, there's no good. Everything is bad. No, I'll disagree because I don't think everything is bad, but maybe in your life right now it seems that way. But if you feel like everything is bad, you can still create good. You can. Do something nice for your neighbor. Do something nice for a family member. Do something nice for a friend. Do something nice for your community. Go to your temple or your church or your community center. Do something nice. Volunteer. Buy someone a present. Say hello to somebody. There's so many good things you can do. Plant a tree, plant some flowers, volunteer. The list of good things you can do is endless. And if you do good things, guess what? Then there's good. Then you can look around and say, you know what? I can make today a great day. I can make today the best day it can be because there is good. I just created some. And when you create good for somebody else or for lots of others or just a few others, but for others, they're more likely to also create good. And then maybe some of those negative things that are happening aren't so negative because people are perpetuating good. Throughout my entire life, I have found this to be absolutely true. When you give love, it comes back to you in greater amounts than you ever gave. Quick little note as well, this show is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Artemisia can be found at apbooks.net. And Artemisia, of course, has published a host of my books, including The Least Among Them, From Compton to the Bronx, which I wrote with Roy White, 365.2, Going the Distance, A Runner's Journey, and the greatest novel ever written, Scattering the Ashes. My newest book, The Greatest Yankee by Uniform Number, is coming out in March. And Sunbury Press, a different publisher, but who is also great, has these new books coming out. The first one, West Point to Gettysburg, Volume 1, is now out, getting rave reviews, including from James McPherson, the greatest Civil War writer of today and one of the greatest of all time. So he says it's a great book. And if he says it's a great book, then I'd put my stock in that. Take a look at all those books and pick them up. Remember, West Point and Gettysburg is by Sunbury. The rest are Artemisia Publishing. And so many things to talk about. You know, Manfred, the baseball commissioner, is coming up with some new ideas. Here's my idea for him. Leave the game alone. He's talking about new divisions, new ways to set up the leagues and teams of 4 in this area and that area, wrecking the whole idea of American League and National League and moving National League teams to the American League and American League teams to the National League, etc. Those are all bad ideas. He's talking about an in-season tournament. That's a terrible idea. He's talking about splitting the season and having a first half winner and a second half winner. Those are all terrible ideas. Mr. Manfred, leave the game alone. You've already done so much to it. Ghost runners and bigger bases and there's so I can't even think of all the ridiculous things. The only thing he's done that I've liked over the years is the pitch clock, because I think it makes sense. Make the game move. In the olden days, you didn't need a pitch clock because the pitchers just got the ball and threw, and batters didn't step out of the box every 32 seconds. But now they do. But this, ghost runners and extra innings and just there's so many things that they have done to take away a lot of what baseball is all about, and to realign baseball and to have mid-season tournaments and to split the season in half would be 3 ways to really destroy baseball history. They're all terrible ideas. The Yankees, as we say, have done nothing. They may finally make an agreement with Cody Bellinger in the coming days or weeks. The Yankees talk about a slow market, but if you go on Start Spreading the News, I wrote an article about that the other day. A slow market? You're the Yankees. You're the greatest team there is. You're the team with the most resources. Greatest meaning the most wealthy now, not the greatest of winning the most, because they don't win the most anymore. They don't win it all anymore. There's a generation of Yankee fans now that don't even know what it's like to have a winning team over a sustained period. If you became a fan in 2009, 15 years ago, and you were 10, you're now 25. If you became a fan in 2001 when they won their previous 2000 when they won their previous World Series, that was 26 years ago. You're now 36 years old if you were 10 when that happened. You've seen one World Series that you can, or maybe 2 that you can oh yeah, I remember them. One 10 years away from the other, and nothing since. I mean, the Yankee tradition used to be that they would win. The Yankee tradition also was that they could dominate the offseason. The Yankees didn't sit there and say, we really can't do anything because we're waiting on player X. They did that a number of years ago with DJ LeMahieu. They let him hold their offseason hostage. Now they're letting Cody Bellinger hold their offseason hostage. Meanwhile, every other team, or at least the ones that matter, are going out and getting players and making deals. And the Yankees saying the market is slow. Well, then make it not slow, Yankees. Do something. They could have signed some Japanese players. Those guys. I remember the thing when the Yankees didn't get Yamamoto. Oh, they're only going to play for the Dodgers. Except that the 3 Japanese players this year, none of them signed with the Dodgers. Yankee fans make these excuses that don't make any sense, or they think make sense, but they're really just excuses. And then they prove over time to not be true. And that's how the Yankees handle their offseason, hoping that their fans carry their water for them and make excuses. Well, the reason they haven't made any big deals, it's a slow market. They can't find a deal with Bellinger. Well, then move on from Bellinger. Sign Kyle Tucker. Make a trade for an outfielder. Make a trade for some pitchers. Say, we want you to be on our team, but we're only going to negotiate with you till this day. And if you're not willing to make a deal with us at that point, well, good, that's fine. Go find another team. We're not going to negotiate past that point because we can't let you, a player, hold up an entire franchise, an entire organization. But that's the way the Yankees operate today. The Yankees used to be big and bold and powerful, and now they're weak and lame and excuse making. Think about that. It's really sad. You know, the other day I also wrote an article about George Steinbrenner, and there are Yankee fans out there that despise George Steinbrenner. And, you know, they talk about all of his many faults, which there were many. Read the article. It's called Perspectives. It ran on, let's see, if I'm recording this on Friday, it ran on Thursday, which would have been August. How about that? January the 8th. But you can find it. Just type in Perspectives on Start Spreading the News. For a day or two, it'll be on the front page, and then it goes on to the next pages as the new articles get posted, etc. But some fans hate George Steinbrenner, but I just made the point that I think a lot of the critique of Steinbrenner, not the suspensions, not the bad things he did, not the Howard Spira stuff, not the firing managers and general managers and pitching coaches and all that chaos, that all happened. None of that's good. Nobody's justifying that. But the other part of Steinbrenner, which some people refuse to give him any credit for, is dating back to 1962. He's the only person who's owned the Yankees that has been able to get them to win championships. After 1962, the Yankees didn't win championships. Then they sold the franchise to CBS. CBS never won any championships. Then there was this George Steinbrenner era, and the Yankees won a lot. They had a down period where I've always said he learned from, and he was suspended and came back and operated differently. But they won before he was suspended that second time. And then they won after he came back from that second suspension. But then after he passed away, the Yankees haven't won a World Series. Now, some people say 2009, it wasn't really his team, but it was. That was his team. That was still his way of operating. It was after he passed that the Yankees again haven't won. And I find it interesting that people want to separate George Steinbrenner from all the championships. It can be both. He can have been a tyrant of sorts and an erratic owner, a guy who made bad deals. All of that can be true at the same time that you have to say he was also the guy who invested the money enough and got the players enough to make the Yankees world champions multiple times. You know, I wonder if all the people who hate George Steinbrenner and hate his memory, if they have mementos and souvenirs and memorabilia in their house that says 77 world champs. Well, that doesn't happen without George. 78 world champs. Well, that doesn't happen without George. Or 96, 98, 99, 2000 champs. Those don't happen without George. And I've written about this extensively. You could go on to Start Spreading the News and type in Yankee myths. Read the one about George Steinbrenner and the 1996 Yankees. People want to say that that team was built while he was suspended, except that's just not true. It's just not true. Most of the players on that 96 team came to the Yankees after he came back from suspension. And some of the most important players became Yankees after he came back and were players he paid for, including David Cohn, but Tino Martinez, Jeff Nelson. You could go on and on and on down the list. And some fans, this is one of the arguments I've never understood. But among Yankee fans, it's a big talking point. They love, the anti-George people love bringing this up. They go, you know, he almost traded Derek Jeter. You know, he almost traded Mariano Rivera. he almost traded Bernie Williams. But news flash, he didn't. I mean, he didn't trade them. You can't say he only, I'm mad at you because you almost did something. You almost did that. How dare you almost do that? But he didn't. Well, he thought about it. So now we're going to hold George Steinbrenner responsible for thinking about something? And then they say, well, no, he was talked out of it. Gene Michael talked him out of it. And that might be true. But at the same time, they want to say he ruled with an iron fist and he did everything. He was bad. Except when something good happened, then he wasn't ruling with an iron fist and somebody else did it. You see the inconsistency there? The other day, someone wrote in on Start Spreading the News, it was George who traded away Ricky Henderson. That's true. That was a bad deal. I remember when it happened. I was driving a van, and it came across on WFAN. Yankees trade Ricky Henderson. I was like, what? What are they doing? And so, George, that's a bad trade. That was bad. But this is the part everybody forgets. They wouldn't have had Ricky Henderson to trade if George didn't first acquire him 5 seasons earlier. If you're going to criticize George Steinbrenner for trading Ricky Henderson, you have to give him credit and say, you know what, he actually did a good thing. He got them Ricky Henderson. You can't say, well, the bad trades he did and the good ones he had nothing to do with. I remember there was a point in time, this was way back, when Lamar Hoyt won the Cy Young Award, probably like 1983. And then the talking point became, Lamar Hoyt was a Yankee minor leaguer, and they traded him away. You see how bad Steinbrenner was? He traded away the Cy Young Award winner. Except they traded Lamar Hoyt for Bucky Dent. Now, maybe I'm wrong as I'm remembering this, but I'm virtually positive I'm right, that Lamar Hoyt was in the Bucky Dent trade. Did the Yankees win the World Series in 77 and 78 without Bucky Dent? Didn't Bucky Dent hit a big home run in 1978 to help the Yankees beat the Red Sox in the one-game playoff? Didn't Bucky Dent go on to win the World Series MVP in 1978? Wasn't he sort of an important part of it? You can't say you got rid of this guy, and that's bad, because you also got somebody who was good. A player who helped you win championships. Well, the Yankees traded Eric Milton, and he was a solid lefty for a number of years for the Twins. That's true. But the Yankees got Chuck Knobloch, who helped them win a bunch of World Series. So, okay. And then, well, he always traded away players who became good, except that's not true. I remember when the Yankees traded for David Cone, they gave up 3 pitchers. And people were saying, oh my goodness, they're all stars. They're going to be great. And none of them became anything. None of them had a significant or even more than a very short major league career. None of them became good. And for those guys, the Yankees got David Cone. And then they had to re-sign him. And that was while George was running the team. He has to get credit for that. It's not all bad when it comes to George Steinbrenner. And so I wrote about that the other day. He didn't do a lot of good things. We know that. There was chaos. It wasn't fun. But it wasn't as negative as everybody wants you to believe. And unfortunately, we have to also recognize that he had a passion for winning. He wanted the Yankees to win. And they did win. Could you imagine George Steinbrenner having an off season like they've just had? Well, we're waiting on Cody Bellinger. We really want him, and we're just far apart. And so the negotiations are taking a long time, and we really can't do anything until we figure that out. Do you think George Steinbrenner would have let something like that go on? A player holding the team hostage? As I recall, Reggie Jackson, when he came to the Yankees, said, I came to the Yankees because George out-hustled everyone else. That's how we win, folks. Winners get the job done, period. Losers make excuses. Winners work hard to get it done. Losers do not. And they find reasons, excuses, for the fact that they can't get the job done. I always find it interesting during certain periods when people go, it's a busy time of year. Very busy. I mean, I get it done, but it's a busy time of year. It's the holidays. It's the end of the summer. It's the beginning of the summer. It's, Thanksgiving time. It's Valentine's Day. I mean, there's a million excuses people have. Meanwhile, there's some people that are just getting things done. If you work hard, if you're focused, if you make the time, you get things done. If you let everyone else control your situations, you won't get things done. And you'll have an excuse. As a Yankee fan, I'm tired of the Yankees having excuses. I want them to win. And then sometimes people also misunderstand this. I say the Yankees should be contenders every year. They should put the best team out there. And then people say, but they can't win the World Series every year. And I say, of course they can't. No team wins the World Series every year. It's absurd to think they could. But it's not absurd to say they should still be, as baseball's most wealthy franchise by billions of dollars, they should still be putting out the very best team. In that period, and in the 80s too, when people, the Yankees never won in the 80s. But in that period from 2001 to 2008, when they didn't win any World Series, and in the early 80s until about 87 or 88, the Yankees were always in it. There was always the sense that they were going for it. That they fell short was disappointing, but you still felt they were going for it, especially 01 to 08. Those were some great teams. And they were bringing in great players, A-Rod, Mussina, Giambi, Hideki Matsui, Gary Sheffield. They were going for it. There was no doubt about that. It didn't work out, but they were going for it. Nowadays, you don't get the sense that they're even going for it. In the past, the idea was, let's put the very best team we can out on the field. We are going to play to dominate. And because we're the best team, we should win the World Series. If we don't, we still had the best team we could have, and something went wrong. But we went out there full force with our best effort. That's not how the Yankees have operated for probably more than a decade or so. Now they say, let's put a pretty good team out there. And maybe because the postseason is a crapshoot, anything could happen and you never know, maybe things will fall just right. If Garrett Cole gets hot, if Aaron Judge gets hot, Giancarlo Stanton's had some big postseasons. If he could get hot, maybe somebody can carry the team and we can win the World Series, even if we're not the best. See, nowadays they try to find a way to hope to win. That's not a winning formula. It might work sometimes, but it's not a winning formula. And it doesn't inspire the fans. It doesn't even probably inspire the players. But it's not a winning approach to maybe we'll be pretty good. Maybe the rest of the league isn't that good. Maybe we're better than the rest of the league. We could be if things go right. That's a loser mentality. The old way used to be we're going to put the best team out there, and we should, if everything goes right, still win it all. We should win it because we're the best. Now, sometimes we don't win it all, but we're still the best. At least we have the best possible chance. It's striving for greatness or striving for pretty goodness. Let's be pretty good. And I find it funny that some people are satisfied with that. When you go to your doctor, do you say, are you the best doctor? When something is ailing you, do you ask everybody that like, hey, who's the most pretty good, sometimes possibly really good on occasion if things go right, doctor who could help me out with? If you need an accountant, is that what you say? Like, do you have somebody who's like pretty good with numbers? He's not great or she's not great, but they're pretty good, they get it right. They pretty much know the tax law. Is that what you do? Do you ask for I hope my garbage collector's pretty good. They mostly get most of the stuff, but sometimes it's left over and I have to cart it back into my house or my garage or wherever. No, you want excellence. You want excellence from your doctor, from your librarian, from your kids' teachers, from your principal, from your accountant, from your lawyer, from the mechanic for your car. You expect these people to be excellent. And that's the way the Yankees used to operate. We're the Yankees. We're the best. And now, we're pretty good. If everything comes back, if Garrett Cole comes back, it's like getting an ace pitcher maybe by the middle of the year. If Anthony Volpe doesn't get hurt, maybe he can possibly hit. He could be good. Maybe Austin Wells can learn to hit lefty pitching well, and maybe he can become a really good hitter. Maybe Ben Rice kind of continues to improve. Does that inspire you as a Yankee fan? That would inspire me as a Red Sox fan. Like, they're not going for it again. Good. That makes my team have a better chance. That's not how the Dodgers operate. The Dodgers operate as the Yankees used to operate. But it is what it is. In the end, the good news is it's just baseball. It's something to talk about. It's a way to pass the time. It's a way to have some fun. I wish the Yankees would decide to go out there and be the Yankees of old. Use your resources to go put the best team on the field. If they don't, and if they don't do anything, then we have podcasts where we complain and say they're not doing anything. They're destroying the Yankee brand, a brand that used to mean excellence and greatness. It doesn't mean that anymore. Maybe they can wake up and start making it mean that again. My friends, look to the good. There is good. Find it or create it. Make every one of your days great. Be kind to others. Give kindness, give empathy, understanding, friendship, and love. When we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts. I keep giving the Yankees love. It's not coming back as much, but maybe it will soon. Except in the Yankees case, when we give love, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. Be kind to all those in your life. Let's go Yankees. Have a great day, and I'll see you back here again very soon.